Your high-gain riffs are fighting a mathematical war against physics, and your tuner is lying to you. Look, as an audio engineer who spends half his life auditing fretboard math on the workbench, I see this exact scenario literally every single day. You drop thousands of dollars on an absolute titan of an amplifier, right? You spend hours meticulously dialing in your drop tuning. You hit that little green light on your expensive digital tuner so it sits dead center, and yet your tone still sounds like a muddy, clashing, unfocused mess the exact second you hit a heavy power chord. In this explainer, we're going to completely dissect the brutal reality of fretboard physics. We're going to expose exactly why your boutique gear isn't the problem here. The math is. So why is your tuner lying to you? Well, it's because standard 12-tone equal temperament is, at its very core, a massive auditory compromise. It essentially forces a mathematical concession on every single fret of your guitar. See, hundreds of years ago, to make it mathematically possible to play a fretted instrument in all 12 keys without it sounding completely broken, Western music decided to intentionally tune the instrument slightly out of tune. And this systematic, deliberate detuning, it creates a dissonant beating effect, a literal clash of physical wave frequencies that absolutely ruins the tight, low-end punch you need for modern high gain. Your expensive pedal tuner tells you you're perfectly at 0 cents, but raw physics is telling a completely different story. Now let's dive into the trap that always comes up next. You'll constantly hear armchair theorists on forums hyping up Just Intonation, this tuning system based on pure small integer mathematical ratios. They'll enthusiastically tell you that the major thirds and perfect fifths are theoretically pure. There's zero pitch drift, the whole shebang. And honestly, they're not wrong on paper. It sounds great on a medieval lute, but for modern, drop-tuned metal, it is an absolute trap. Just Intonation completely falls apart the exact second you modulate or change keys. It lacks what we call transpositional invariance. So unless you're playing a fretless instrument, or you've got a choir of vocalists who can seamlessly adjust pitch on the fly, you are permanently stuck with the brutal mathematical compromise of 12-tone equal temperament. And man, the mechanical flaws we're up against just make this even worse. Straight frets and standard metal saddles simply cannot physically compensate for the complex, violent reality of a heavily vibrating string. The frequency of your note isn't just about the scale length of the guitar, it's dynamically determined by the speaking length, the tension applied, and the string's mass. All three of these critical factors are affected to wildly varying degrees the second your finger presses a heavy gauge string down onto a rigid, straight fret. I see guys on the bench slap .074 gauge strings on their bottom end, hit the third fret, and wonder why it sharpens by a quarter step. You know, you're literally bending the string out of tune just to play a basic note. All right, section 2, the Pythagorean deficit.
Let's break down the brutal mathematical reality happening right underneath your fingers. This right here is the Pythagorean Comma. It's the unavoidable mathematical leftover trash of Western music. The ghost in the machine, if you will. If you mathematically stack 12 pure fifths, and then you stack 7 perfect octaves, they do not arrive at the same pitch. They completely miss each other by a ratio of 531,441 to 524,288. Let me repeat that ratio so it really sinks in. 531,441 to 524,288. You can't cheat it. You can't just buy a boutique pedal to fix it. 12 perfect fifths simply do not align with 7 perfect octaves.
That mathematical gap equals exactly 23.46 cents. That is nearly a massive quarter of a semitone of micro-tonal error permanently baked into your fretboard geometry. Equal Temperament takes this 23.46 cent error and just intentionally smears it evenly across the whole neck, just so your instrument can barely function across different keys. But here's the kicker. That error doesn't just vanish into thin air. It hides in the fretboard. It waits for you to plug in, crank your distortion, and expose it. Moving on to section 3, intermodulation and harmonic chaos. Now let's look at what actually happens when your thousands of dollars of modern gear meets this mathematical error. This is where the physics turns straight up violent. High-gain digital modelers and modern aggressive compression stages are completely unforgiving. They take those micro-tonal errors we just talked about, and they exponentially amplify them through a phenomenon called intermodulation distortion, or IMD. When multiple frequencies hit a nonlinear gain stage, like, say, an overdriven tube or a high-gain digital block, they interact to produce entirely new frequencies. These are the literal mathematical sums and differences of your original notes. And because your initial notes are mathematically compromised by that 23-cent error, these new IMD products are intensely dissonant. They clash directly with your fundamental tone. Watch how this scales on the workbench.
When you play a complex dyad or a heavy power chord with heavy saturation, the fundamental signal, the actual notes you're trying to play, well, that grows linearly. But the third-order harmonics, oh man, they spike exponentially. In a nonlinear system, the harmonic distortion power increases at 3 times the rate of your fundamental power. You're effectively feeding an incredibly powerful, high-gain microscope a fundamentally flawed specimen. Every tiny little error gets blown wildly out of proportion.
So the absolutely crucial point is this. Because of that smeared 23.46-cent error across your fretboard, those exponentially amplified third-order harmonics completely fail to align. They fight each other in the air and in the circuitry. They create phase-coherent chaos. Just think about that for a second. What you actually have is a frequency traffic jam. This phase cancellation effectively turns your brutal, tight low end into a muddy, clashing mess. You think you need a new overdrive pedal, a better noise gate, or a different pickup to tighten your low end. But what you actually have is ancient fretboard math clashing with a modern high-gain circuit. Which brings us to Section 4, the clinical offset implementation. Since we obviously can't break the laws of physics, and let's be real, most of us aren't ripping out our frets to install curved true temperament systems today, here is the practical $0 fix to override this on your workbench. You have to stop tuning your open strings to true zero. You've got to abandon this illusion of mathematical perfection and start using the offset tuning method. This means intentionally recalibrating specific strings to account for your heavy gauge, your aggressive pick attack, and the specific interval dyads you actually play in heavy metal. You are tuning the guitar so it sounds perfectly in tune when you apply physical pressure and when you hit the distortion stage, not when it's just sitting pretty and unplayed on your lap. Here is the street-smart tactical manual step by step. First, you still need to intonate perfectly at the 12th fret just to establish a solid bass line. Second, you cross-reference the 5th and 17th harmonic notes. Third, you want to apply micro-offsets. So you might tune your heavy lower strings, maybe a center 2 flat to compensate for the sharp pitch jump of a really heavy pick attack. Or maybe sweeten the B string so your major thirds don't warble out of control under high gain. You purposely micro-adjust your bridge intonation and offset your saddles by just a few cents to stabilize the phase of the harmonic nodes you actually use in progressive metal riffing. Section 5, the workbench audit. It is time to stop blindly trusting digital tuners and start actually auditing your fretboard math. Let's see how this builds into your daily routine as a player. So I have to ask you, and I want you to really think about it. Are you consciously controlling your instrument's physics, or are you letting the math ruin your mix? Because if you just plug in, tune to the green light like a robot, and wonder why your palm mutes sound like absolute garbage in the studio, the math is playing you. This is why understanding the raw physics of your fretboard beats buying a new pedal every single time. You cannot buy your way out of a Pythagorean comma. You cannot EQ out bad intermodulation distortion that happens before the speaker block. You definitely can't boost or cut away a fundamental phase cancellation. You have to fix it at the physical source with your hands, your tuner offsets, and your screwdriver. And that's exactly what we do here at the Tone Manual. We completely strip away the marketing hype, the snake oil, and the endless gear cycles, and we look at the raw workbench engineering that actually dictates how your instrument interacts with the high-gain circuit. Now I want to see what you're working with. Drop your exact drop tuning preference, whether it's drop A, double drop D, whatever low tune monstrosity you run, and your current guitar scale length in the comments below. Let the community audit your tension and tuning math. Make sure you hit subscribe to lock your signal path into the workbench for our next explainer. Until then, grab a screwdriver, offset your saddles, and force the math to work for your riffs, not against them. After all, if you can't control the math on your own fretboard, who's really playing who?